It's brain building time. Hey there, future thinkers and world changers. Ever wonder how your amazing brain actually learns new things? It's not like it's an empty box, right? Where someone just pours in facts and figures like water into a glass. Oh no, it's so much more exciting, so much more active than that. You are the star of your own learning show, the chief architect of your understanding. You don't just receive knowledge, you actively create it piece by piece every single day. It's a dynamic process, and you're in the driver's seat navigating the world of information. Think of it like this. Your mind is a busy construction site. You're not just passively watching from the sidelines. You are the builder, the engineer, the designer, all rolled into one incredible package. Every time you encounter something new, a tricky math problem, a fascinating science fact, or even a new word, you're grabbing your mental tools. You're taking what you already know, your existing experiences and ideas, and you're using them as the foundation for something brand new. You're building your own unique understanding, your own reality. This idea, this powerful concept, is called Constructivism. It's a fancy word, I know, but the idea behind it is super simple and incredibly important. It means that we, as learners, construct our own knowledge and meaning from our experiences. We don't just absorb information like a sponge. Instead, we actively interpret it, connect it to what we already know, and build our own mental models of how the world works. It's like being a detective, always looking for clues and piecing them together to solve the mystery of understanding. So, instead of thinking of learning as just filling up a memory bank, picture yourself as an explorer on a grand adventure. You're constantly discovering new lands of information, mapping them out, and making sense of them in your own way. This journey is personal, it's active, and it's happening all the time, even when you don't realize it. Constructivism helps us understand that learning is a creative process, a journey of building, not just a task of collecting. It's pretty neat, huh? Science. Learning by doing, not just snoozing. Let's get practical. How does this building your own knowledge thing actually work in real life? Imagine learning to ride a bicycle. Could you learn just by reading a book about it? Or by someone telling you, okay, pedal like this, balance like that? Probably not very well. You need to get on that bike, feel the wobble, maybe even take a tumble or two. Each attempt, each adjustment you make, is you actively constructing your understanding of balance, motion, and coordination. You're not just memorizing instructions, you're experiencing and adapting. Think about a baby learning about the world. They don't just lie there waiting for information to arrive. They grab things, they put them in their mouths, they bang them together. They are experimenting, testing, and building their understanding of objects. What's soft, what's hard, what makes a noise. This is pure constructivism in action. Each interaction is a mini experiment, helping them build a mental map of their surroundings. They are little scientists, exploring and discovering the properties of their universe, one toy at a time. Or consider learning a new video game. Do you just read the manual cover to cover and instantly become an expert? No way. You jump in, you try different moves, you fail, you learn from your mistakes, and you gradually figure out the rules and strategies. You're building your skills and knowledge through active participation. Each level you conquer, each puzzle you solve, is a testament to your ability to construct understanding through interaction and problem solving. You become better by doing, by trying, by experimenting with the game's mechanics. Even something like cooking a new recipe involves this active construction. You read the instructions, sure, but then you combine the ingredients, you adjust the heat, you taste and tweak. You're using your prior knowledge of flavors and cooking techniques, and you're actively creating something. If it doesn't turn out perfectly, you think about what you could change next time. That's learning by building, by doing, by making it your own. You are, in essence, conducting a delicious experiment in your very own kitchen laboratory. This idea of building our own knowledge isn't brand new. Some really smart people throughout history helped us understand it better. Let's tip our hats to a few of them. First up, there was a philosopher named Immanuel Kant, way back in the 18th century. He had a big idea. Our minds aren't just blank slates waiting for the world to write on them. He argued that our minds come with certain structures, like pre-installed software, that help us organize and make sense of our experiences. So we're actively shaping our reality, not just passively receiving it. Then, fast forward a bit, and we meet Jean Piaget, a brilliant psychologist. He spent a lot of time observing children, and he noticed something amazing. Kids don't just think like mini adults, they have their own unique ways of understanding the world, and these ways change as they grow. Piaget showed us that children learn by actively exploring and interacting with their environment. They build mental models or schemas, and when they encounter new information, they either fit it into their existing models, which is called assimilation, or change their models to fit the new information, which is accommodation. He showed us that kids are like little scientists, constantly experimenting. Another super important thinker was Vygotsky. He emphasized something crucial. Learning isn't just a solo act, it's a social thing. Vygotsky believed that our interactions with other people, our parents, teachers, friends, are fundamental to how we learn and develop. He talked about the zone of proximal development, which is a fancy way of saying that we learn best when we have help from someone who knows a bit more than we do. Language, he said, is a super powerful tool that helps us think, communicate, and build knowledge together. These thinkers, and many others, helped lay the groundwork for what we now call Constructivism. They all pointed to the idea that learning is an active, constructive process, shaped by our own minds, our experiences, and our interactions with others. They helped us see that we are not just passive recipients of information, but active creators of our own understanding. It's a powerful shift in how we think about learning, and it has big implications for how we teach and how we learn every single day. Science is all about building on previous discoveries. Now you might be thinking, but Bill, what about memorizing facts for a test? Isn't that learning? Well, yes and no. Memorizing can be a part of learning, like knowing your multiplication tables or the names of the planets. But Constructivism tells us that true deep learning is much more than just cramming information into your brain, hoping it sticks. It's about understanding, not just recalling. Think of your brain as a high-tech computer, not just a simple storage device. It's designed to process, connect, and create, not just hold data. Imagine trying to build a house by just memorizing a list of all the parts: hammer, nails, wood, windows. You might be able to recite the list, but could you actually build the house? Probably not. To build the house, you need to understand how the parts fit together, how they function, and how to use the tools. Real learning is like that. It's about understanding the connections between ideas, seeing the bigger picture, and being able to use what you've learned in new situations. It's about application, not just accumulation. Passive learning, where you just sit and listen or try to absorb facts without actively engaging with them, is like being a sponge. A sponge can soak up water, sure, but it doesn't really do anything with the water. It just holds it. Constructivist learning, on the other hand, is like being a water wheel. The water or information comes in, but then the wheel uses it to do something useful, to generate power, to make things happen. You process it, you transform it, you make it your own. So while memorizing can have its place, it's not the end goal. The real magic happens when you take those facts and start to build with them. When you ask questions, when you explore, when you connect new ideas to what you already know. That's when learning becomes meaningful and lasting. It's the difference between knowing the name of a tool and knowing how to use it to create something amazing. One is just information. The other is true understanding and capability. That's the power of active construction. If we're all builders of our own knowledge, what does that mean for schools and classrooms? Well, it means classrooms should be less like lecture halls and more like bustling workshops or exciting laboratories. In a constructivist classroom, the teacher isn't just a dispenser of facts, standing at the front and talking at students. Instead, the teacher acts more like a guide, a facilitator, a coach who helps students build their own understanding. They create an environment where curiosity is king and questions are encouraged. Think about a science class. Instead of just reading about experiments in a textbook, students in a constructivist classroom would be doing the experiments themselves. They'd be forming hypotheses, testing their ideas, observing the results, and drawing their own conclusions. They might work in groups, discussing their findings and learning from each other's perspectives. The teacher would be there to ask probing questions, offer support when needed, and help students connect their discoveries to broader scientific principles. It's hands-on, minds-on learning. Projects, problem-solving, and collaborative tasks are big in a constructivist setting. Students might work on a long-term project where they have to research a topic, design a solution to a problem, or create something new. This allows them to explore their interests, take ownership of their learning, and apply their knowledge in meaningful ways. It's not just about getting the right answer, but about the process of discovery, the journey of figuring things out. Mistakes are seen as learning opportunities, not failures. So a constructivist classroom is a dynamic, interactive space. It values student questions as much as student answers. It encourages exploration, experimentation, and collaboration. The goal is to help students become active, engaged learners who can think critically, solve problems, and construct deep, lasting understanding. It's about empowering students to become the architects of their own knowledge, building a strong foundation for lifelong learning. Now that's a classroom I'd want to be in. It sounds like a place where real discovery happens. Let's talk about how gabbing or chatting with others actually helps our brains grow. Remember our friend Lev Vygotsky? He was really onto something when he talked about how important social interaction and language are for learning. Constructivism isn't just about what happens inside your own head, it's also about how we learn with and from others. Talking about ideas, explaining your thinking to someone else, or even arguing a point, respectfully of course, can help you understand things much more deeply. It's kind of like shining a brighter light on your thoughts. When you try to explain a concept to a friend, you have to organize your thoughts, find the right words, and make sure your explanation makes sense. This process itself helps solidify your own understanding. And when your friend asks questions or offers a different perspective, it can challenge your thinking and help you see things in a new way. It's like having a thinking partner, someone to bounce ideas off of. This collaborative construction of knowledge is super powerful. Language is the amazing tool we use for this social construction of knowledge. It allows us to share our thoughts, ask questions, build on each other's ideas, and create shared meanings. Think about a brainstorming session. Everyone throws out ideas. One idea sparks another. And pretty soon, you have a whole bunch of creative solutions that no single person would have come up with on their own. That's the power of language and collaboration in action, building something new together. So group work, discussions, debates, and collaborative projects are not just fun ways to pass the time in class. They are essential for deep learning. They provide opportunities for students to articulate their understanding, listen to different viewpoints, negotiate meaning, and co-construct knowledge. It's learning as a team sport. By talking things through, we clarify our own thinking and we also get to see how others are building their understanding, which can give us new bricks and tools for our own mental construction projects. Let's use another analogy to really nail this idea of constructivism. Imagine you're building with Legos. You have a pile of bricks. Those are like the facts, the pieces of information you encounter. If someone just hands you a finished Lego model, the right answer, you might admire it, but you wouldn't really understand how it was built. You wouldn't know how to fix it if it broke, or how to build something similar yourself. You wouldn't have learned much about the process of creation, but in a constructivist way of learning, you get to play with the bricks yourself. You start with what you already know. Maybe you've built simple Lego cars before. Now you want to build a spaceship. You try different combinations, some work, some don't. You look at pictures of other spaceships, getting ideas from others. You talk to a friend who's also building, and slowly, you construct your own unique spaceship. You've learned not just about spaceships, but about design, structure, and problem solving. That's a much deeper understanding. Think of a detective solving a complex case. They don't just get a memo saying the butler did it. No, they gather clues, information, they interview witnesses, social interaction, different perspectives, they look for patterns, and they form theories or hypotheses. They connect bits of information that might seem unrelated at first, building a coherent story of what happened. Each clue is a building block, and the detective is actively constructing the solution, the understanding of the crime. This is active investigative learning at its best. Or how about learning to cook without a super strict recipe, like your grandma might cook? She knows how ingredients interact. She adjusts based on taste and texture. She's using her vast experience, prior knowledge, and experimenting as she goes. She's constructing the meal. If you learn to cook this way, by understanding the principles rather than just blindly following steps, you can become a much more creative and adaptable cook. You're not just executing a program, you're creating, adapting, and truly understanding the art of cooking. That's the delicious result of constructing your own knowledge. One of the coolest things about constructivism is that it helps us understand why everyone sees the world a little differently. Since we all build our own understanding based on our unique experiences, backgrounds, and prior knowledge, it makes sense that our mental models of the world won't be exactly the same. It's like we're all wearing slightly different colored goggles. The world is still the same world, but our perception of it, our interpretation, will have its own unique tint. Imagine a group of people looking at the same abstract painting. One person might see a stormy sea, another might see a bustling city, and a third might just see a collection of colors and shapes that makes them feel a certain emotion. Who is right? In a constructivist view, they all are, in a way. They are each constructing their own meaning based on what they bring to the painting. Their past experiences with art, nature, or city life will influence what they perceive and how they interpret it. This doesn't mean that anything goes or that there are no facts. The painting is still made of paint on canvas, but our understanding and interpretation of it are personally constructed. This is super important when we think about communicating with others. If someone has a different opinion or sees things differently from you, it doesn't necessarily mean one of you is wrong. It might just mean you've had different experiences and have built different mental frameworks. Understanding this can lead to much more productive conversations. Recognizing that everyone constructs their own reality helps us to be more empathetic and open-minded. Instead of immediately dismissing an idea that seems strange or different, we can become curious. We can ask questions like, why do they see it that way? What experiences might have led them to that conclusion? This approach fosters respect for diverse perspectives and encourages us to learn from each other, rather than just trying to prove our own view is the only correct one. It's about understanding, not just winning an argument. So why is all this talk about constructivism, about building our own knowledge, so important? Well, in a world that's constantly changing, a world filled with diverse people and complex problems, being able to think for yourself, learn actively, and understand different perspectives is more crucial than ever. Constructivism isn't just a theory about learning. It's a mindset that can help us navigate this amazing, complicated world we live in. It empowers us to be lifelong learners and thoughtful global citizens. When we understand that learning is an active process of building, we become more engaged and motivated learners. We're not just waiting to be filled with information. We're eager to explore, question, and create. This makes learning more fun, more meaningful, and much more effective. It helps us develop critical thinking skills, problem-solving abilities, and creativity, all essential tools for success in any field, and for making sense of the information overload we often face today. Furthermore, embracing constructivism encourages respect and collaboration. If we recognize that everyone constructs their own unique understanding of the world, we become more open to listening to others, valuing their insights, and working together to build shared knowledge. This is so important for teamwork, for solving community problems, and for creating a more inclusive and understanding society. It helps us move beyond "I'm right, you're wrong" to "let's understand each other and build something better together." Ultimately, constructivism reminds us that we are all capable of incredible things. We are all builders, creators, and thinkers. By understanding how we learn, we can take charge of our own education, help others learn more effectively, and contribute to a world where different ideas are seen as strengths. So, keep building, keep questioning, keep collaborating, and keep learning. The world needs your unique constructions, your unique understanding. Go out there and build something amazing. Science.